Last hour in Washington, D.C., President Trump's speech on religious liberties in public education. It took place at the Museum of the Bible. The president's remarks come during the second meeting of his White House Religious Liberty Commission. A reminder here, the president created that commission in May through an executive order where he blamed federal, state, and local policies for endangering the United States tradition of religious liberty in recent years. Here's a little bit of what the president had to say. Listen.
In recent years, we've seen far too many violent attacks perpetrated against Americans of faith, beautiful Americans of faith, including in our schools and places of worship. And you know about it more than I do. 2 weeks ago in Minneapolis, a demonic killer shot 21 people and murdered the two precious children at a Catholic school. Can you believe that? Hard to believe. And time goes by and people say, oh, I sort of remembered, but I remembered. I'll always remember it. What a horrible thing. Too many happens too much. Our hearts are shattered for the families of those beautiful children. And I've made clear that Attorney General Pam Bondi is working really hard, that we must get answers about the causes of these repeated attacks. And we're working very, very hard on that. The Trump administration will have no tolerance for terrorism or political violence, and that includes hate crimes against Christians, Jews, or anybody else. We're not going to allow it.
Let's go live to the White House and CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. Weijia, thank you for joining us today. What else did the president have to say during his speech?
Well, Mugo, the president did make one policy announcement related to all of what his speech was about, which at the center, his thesis was that faith has to return to the country stronger than ever. He says that is when the country is at its best. And so he announced that the DOJ would issue guidance this morning on the right to prayer in public schools. He also talked about several things that his administration has done that are related to schools. He said that he signed EOs related to banning men from playing in women's sports and limiting gender affirming care. He talked about, as you already mentioned, that terrible Catholic school shooting and said that he has directed the Attorney General Pam Bondi to get to the bottom of the cause of these repeated attacks. And he talked about his administration having no tolerance for hate crimes against Christians, Jews, or anyone else. So this was an opportunity to focus on faith, but also to talk about things that he has done and wants to do in the future to stress how important religion, faith is in this country. Mugo.
And Weijia, I have to ask you about this post from President Trump over the weekend that is still getting a lot of backlash. And it reads, quote, Chicago is about to find out why it's called the war. Has the president clarified what he meant by that comment?
He has. He said, we are not going to war. Of course, that is the most important clarification. He said, we are not going to war with Chicago. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war, the president said. He said it was common sense. And so even though that post was fiery, the president did try to walk a little bit of that back, saying, of course, this is not a declaration of war against a U.S. city. Of course, the Democrats are interpreting that differently, and they're saying they're taking the president at his word and say it's illegal to declare war against another city in America. But we know that the president has been sharply focused on this issue of combating crime, not only in Chicago, but other areas. And just a short time ago, during those remarks about religion, he did say he was waiting for Chicago to give him a call so they could take action. Chicago and its leaders statewide and citywide have made very clear that they do not want any kind of federal support. Now, last week, President Trump said he was going to act anyway and mobilize federal troops, although he did not give any kind of timeline. So we are still waiting, Mugo, to see what actually transpires as these warnings continue that the president is gearing up and prepared to move federal law enforcement in.
And just breaking today, Weijia, an appeals court upheld an $83 million judgment against Trump in the Egan Carroll case. What does this mean right now for the president?
Well, for now, it means he still owes her more than $83 million. The figure is $83.3 million in that defamation lawsuit. The president's legal team was trying to argue that his speech should have been protected under the Supreme Court's ruling of presidential immunity. And because he made the remarks in question about defamation during his time in office, they claim that he should be protected. But this 3-panel appeals court disagreed. And he still has to abide by the original ruling, which was that he defamed E. Jean Carroll and owes her all that money. You may remember that he said, that she wasn't his type, that he said she made up a story to sell a book, and as a result of that, was ordered to pay her and he tried to appeal that, but the breaking news today, Mugo, was that he was unsuccessful in doing so.
Okay. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang, thank you so much for your time today.